welcome to the Open Mic, the European edition. We do this every month for now. Maybe we'll do it more often based on your demand. MSPs asked to hear something new, what we've been working on in the platform, what bugs we fixed, and you folks wanted to do a little R&D or rob and duplicate automations that your MSP peers are making. A couple of reminders. We have Flow coming up, and we're absolutely going to sell out. So if you're coming to Flow, if you're going to fly over the pond, please get your tickets now. Don't wait to the end because there may not be any tickets to get. Also, we use Discord at Rewst. That does not mean we don't use tickets. Anything that's more than just a couple seconds for the effort, we create a ticket in our PSA. However, we like to do real-time communications in Discord. So if you're interacting with us, please either respond as a thread or tag the person you're interacting with from Rewst, because we're monitoring hundreds and hundreds of channels, all at the same time. Speaking of Discord, I know approximately 5, 12, 20, 0 MSPs that have ever succeeded with automation that have never asked a question. So if you have a question, no matter how dumb you think it is, ask it on this call, ask it in your Discord channel, whatever you do, just ask it. My warning system on whether or not an MSP is going to succeed at automation is how quiet they are. If they just sit around, they don't talk to anyone, they don't ask any questions, they typically remain manual forever. And with this, that's my intro. I'm going to pass it over to George. What's up, George?
What's up, Aaron? Thanks so much. Great intro. As always, we are going to jump straight into things here, guys, with hopefully one of our community members. Gareth, are you online? I don't see you in the list unless you're under a different name. Mr. Gareth Smith, are you there? No? Going once? Going twice? We'll come back to that. He told me he was going to be here. Maybe something's come up. We'll give him a little bit more time. So with that, we'll move on to some of the updates we have here at Rewst. We have a really exciting thing. I don't want to steal their thunder that is just released this week. So I'm going to kick it over to the education team to walk us through a brand new big announcement they have. So Clea, are you online? I saw you posting in the chat. There she is.
I am.
All right.
Give me 1 sec to set up for screen sharing. But while I do that, who here has taken Cluck University training before? You can give me a thumbs up or let us know in the chat. All right.
I know Ginger.
I know you have. Okay. So let me go ahead and demo our new training experience. And sorry, my dog barged in. I've got kids at home. Thanks for bearing with me, and thanks for your time today. So in the new Cluck University, you can enroll in courses, track your progress, sign up for live events, do things on your own time and pace. And we welcome any feedback in the Cluck U Discord channel. Eager for you to check it out. Here we go. Can you all see my screen? Awesome. The website is learn.rewst.io, but you don't have to memorize because we want to keep learning Rewst as close to the platform as possible. So whether you're already in the Rewst app or you end up here, when you sign in, you'll be prompted to pick your region. I am in the US, even though I wish I was over here with you fine folks. Basically, in the background, that is logging me in through the Rewst app and taking me to the home page. So just to prove that, I'll go ahead and open up the Rewst app. there we are. New link to Cluck University here. If it is not there, you can always click on the question mark icon in the lower right. That opens our resource center, and Cluck University is the very first thing. So whether you're already building in the app or you get there through the Learn Rewst site, go ahead and click that button, and you end up in the same place. Now that you're here, you can go ahead and update your profile. You can see I don't have the ability to change my password, and that is intentional because we don't want a separate login to Learn Rewst. We just want to use our Rewst account. However, we can go ahead and update our profile photo, or because my boss is on the call, I'm going to troll him and upload his photo. And now I'll see it anywhere in the site. So a little bit of things you can do to personalize. And right now this space is blank. But if, for example, I'm a new customer and I need to get started with onboarding, well, there's 11 courses for me to get started with. And if I get going, start learning by clicking into things and continuing, but then I get distracted and lose my place, I can always pick up where I left off in my learning. So notice now that I'm registered for the Rewst onboarding learning path, and I've already started the first lesson of the onboarding overview course. So very easy to pick up where you left off. And once you are within a course, you'll see this little menu. Now, a few UI things that I want to point out. If you see a lock icon, that just means that you have to complete previous stuff. Not all courses have that feature, but if it is locked, there's probably a good reason. We want to make sure that you understand what's on this page, and there's some prerequisite lessons that are further up in the tree. In many cases, we are embedding our Rewst documentation. So as information changes, as the platform grows and evolves, you'll always have access to the latest and greatest documentation if it's referenced in our Cluck University courses. Technical behind the scenes is just a little iframe embed. If that's annoying and you just want to open that document in a new tab, we've provided that for you. Whoops, and that link breaks, so that is on me to update this after the call. There's a course calendar right now that features training sessions in our core topics. Those are automation basics, Rewst foundations, and clean automations taught by our legendary instructor, Eddie Chow. And I can go ahead and register for those sessions. If you see multiple events, that means there are multiple events that comprise that course. So Rewst Foundations Live includes 3 sessions. I want to go ahead and pick some dates that work for me. I can commit to that, add it to my calendar. And here I've got a reasonable pace starting on my birthday, true facts, April 15th, to sign up for Rewst Foundations and take it live with Eddie. In the meantime, if I wanted to check out any of that course content, maybe be, a star student and get up to speed with the concepts, I could also register for the self-paced learning path that has step-by-step overviews featuring some videos by yours truly, but you don't have to. So up to you if you want to attend live, self-paced, do both, as is the case for me. You've got options. So I'll pause here with the awkward screenshot of my boss's face and turn back my camera on. See if anyone has any questions at all. Or George, if there's anything else you'd like me to specifically demo.
No, I think it's great that there's, different folks learn in different ways. So you can now either do the self-learning and follow Clea's videos or hop on a call with Eddie the legend. Maybe just for folks who might be new or may have missed it, do you mind just giving like a quick fire over maybe some of the differences like between say like Rewst Foundations or Clean Automation? If I'm a fairly technically competent person, or whether I'm new to Rewst or have been here a while, what would you recommend taking, or where should people start based on their experience?
Yeah, Absolutely. So we may be making some updates here just based on feedback and as our education offerings continue to evolve. But I would say if you are brand new, or if you've been here for a little while, but some of these titles look new to you or unfamiliar, definitely start here. Automation Basics walks you through 4 self-paced courses or live with the legendary Eddie to learn certain concepts like how do you evaluate ROI from Rewst, what even is automation to begin with, what are some technical concepts for Rewst. This one is definitely the meatiest course, and you can see that there's a lot of videos, review lessons with the key tips, and even some knowledge checks along the way where you can take a quiz, test yourself, see the answers, try again, etc. So a lot of great options for learning Rewst. I'll just give you a demo of one of those to click through the experience. So here we've got a great 4-minute video by Eddie, some of the key tips, and a knowledge check. So let's see how well I do here.
Pressure's on.
Yeah, the pressure is on. I'm just going to click through, honestly. This is not how you should be doing it. But the good news is once you do, you can go ahead and show the answers, see what you got right, wrong, etc. Though I happen to guess correctly on this one.
It's ingrained in your brain, Leah.
It's ingrained, yeah. It's going to stick. And I can take it again and see if I actually remember those right answers next time.
I would say this course in particular, the Automation Basics, just for folks on the call, this is a link I would be sharing with all of your colleagues and staff, regardless of, their role within your MSP. For folks that are actually building workflows and automations, ensuring that other members of your team, whether they're in sales, marketing, admin, kind of have a grasp of some of these fundamentals, and everyone can sing off the same hymn sheet and speak the same language. Super important for whenever you guys are syncing up to collaborate on different tasks that can be automated and just begin to understand some of the key components. So regardless of whether folks are using Rewst specifically to build automations, I still think every person at an MSP should take that Automation Basics course. It's definitely going to help accelerate holistically everyone's opportunities for increasing automation efficiency.
For sure. And I didn't do a deep dive, but those courses do have some hands-on exercises like how to do things with an API. And here's a few different examples that you can work off. So do check it out. One more thing that I want to demo here, because not everything is available on the homepage. That would just be a lot to throw at everyone just at once. What we do here is try to get you started with the basics, show a little bit of advanced stuff. And for folks who have taken the training and are just ready to take the Rewst clean automation exam or Rewst Foundations exam, you can do that and get certified, similar to how you would do it before in the old Cluck University. But if you are not quite sure what you want, or you want just a different way of looking at all our content, if you go to Home and search courses, we have some nice little filters here on the left. You can search for any title like I want to learn Jinja. You can find courses, assets, lessons, tells you where those things belong. Oops, my zoom out isn't working. I can also go ahead and reset that search and just say, you know what, I just want a very short course. I've only got a few minutes. And well, right now, all of them are beginner level. Or I just want to build something quickly. Quick Start Automation is hands-on building exercises. And maybe I'm a beginner. That'll narrow it down. Maybe I have a little bit of experience and I want to try a challenge. Or maybe I want to go for the pro level and brag building a PSA ticket automation. The search courses catalog page basically lets you find anything in the Cluck University universe.
Awesome.
Great
Thanks,
question
Clea.
from Adam in the chat. Will there be a way to see previously taking training courses and certifications? We are working on porting over information about if you've completed the Rewst Foundations certification or the Clean Automation certification. Those certification courses will be marked as complete for you. So those are these. Right now, we are not yet copying over information on other courses that you've completed. It's a possibility down the road, but I will also say that our courses are always getting updated, so it may not be a bad idea to go back in, check things out. But if for some reason, like you need something to show your boss, like I've completed this, just reach out to us in the Cluck U Discord and we can figure out a way to make that happen.
Great, thanks so much, Clea. Anyone have any other questions or comments on the brand new LMS as part of Cluck U? Go ahead, Alex.
Just one, really. Is it already available for most of us in the European and UK region? Because I imagine when I was trying to attempt to take the Rewst 200 Clean Automation Series exam, I couldn't find an appropriate link to take it based in my region.
Yes, so now that we are in the new Cluck universe, as Brandon has coined it, any rooster in any region can take the exam. So absolutely get on in there and crush it.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Thanks, Alex.
The old exams used Rewst forms, and there was a whole bunch of like regional server situations going on. So new experience has the same content, but a more accessible experience for all.
Great. Any last questions on that before we move on to some product stuff? Going once, going twice. Alrighty, cool. I'm going to kick it over to Daniel for some product tips, tricks, and basically all the best things that happened in March. As we kind of explained at the start of this call, with this being monthly, this happens on the first week of every month. So it's the first week of April. We're just looking back to some of the things that the product team have done in the month of March. And just to give Gareth a heads up, who's on the call, Gareth, you're on deck after Daniel. So yeah, Daniel, please tell us all about the great things you and your team did in March.
Hello, everybody. Honored to be with my fellow. I consider myself an EU citizen now because everything that's going on. So my fellow EU people. All right. So if you have not been on an open mic, typically on a week-to-week basis, here on a month-to-month basis, we just go through these dev updates that are, if you go under updates here, it'll take you to these dev updates. For March 28th, we have a list of all the stuff that we have deployed for this, Commonwealth, George Smith, exactly. We have a list of everything that we have deployed over the last week. So typically on a week-to-week basis, we'll have anything from like 20 things that we deploy to, I think even today we might have like 50 different items that we're deploying. So we move at a pretty fast pace. Now, with that said, some of the big things that we have released in the last month, we released 3 integrations in the last month. We released Stripe, Shortcut, and Traceless. So that brings our integration count up for the year to 10. We try to release somewhere between 3 and 4 integrations every month. And we've been keeping up with that clip for the last 2 quarters. So the last 6 months, we've released probably around, I would say close to like 20 to 30 integrations, which is pretty high for us. Team's doing great with that. We've released, not on this page, but we've released support access. So you might have noticed that in the last couple of months now, you have to grant access to our support team to for us to help you out. So it just makes your environments a lot more secure. We have done a ton of work on performance and stability. I don't know if Aaron showed you, I think we had a little bit of degraded performance yesterday, but if you go to status.rewst.io, you can see in the last 30 days, we were at 30 days of complete uptime. We had a bit of degraded performance yesterday for a couple minutes. But yeah, we've put a ton of work into performance improvements. We've also added 3 new regions in the last 30 days. So we had those regions and we've been doing work on them. for months and months, and we officially have a UK region, an EU region, and a region in Australia as well. So all that to say, we have been hard at work over the last month, and we're going to try to continue with the momentum. There is one other thing that I wanted to talk about today, and that is we are adding PowerShell support anywhere that you use Jinja, almost anywhere that you use Jinja, I should say. There's a couple of places in App Builder that still won't support it, but I guess the meaning behind this is most people coming into Rewst are very familiar with, so I shouldn't even say most people, but many people that join Rewst are familiar with PowerShell already. They use it in their day-to-day jobs. Jinja, not so much, although Jinja is very, it's a very approachable language, templating language. PowerShell is more widely known. So that's one of the things. Also, you probably already have done some automation work using PowerShell. And so this makes it a bit more portable into Rewst. You can take things that you've already built and bring them into Rewst. So to show that, we have this one no-op action. Within this action, I've set 2 data aliases on the transition here. So I have a PowerShell object and a Jinja object. This is all PowerShell. I've set this to PowerShell just by toggling this button here. So you can see it loses its formatting if I toggle it to Jinja. But when I have it toggled onto PowerShell, you can see that it's all written like this. This is the exact same stuff, the exact same code, but in Jinja. So you see it loses its formatting when I change it over to PowerShell. Now, if I look at the results, I ran this already. If I look at the results here, you can see that the Jinja object and the PowerShell object rendered the exact same, one completely using PowerShell, one completely using Jinja. This will also work in the live editor. So we have support there. The way that this works is it deploys an Azure function into your instance. So you have to have Azure running. And the reason why we did this is because it gives you a bit more flexibility with the libraries as well. There's a few security items that we cared about in Rewst with running PowerShell directly from Rewst. So we expect that this won't cost more than like between pennies to dollars to tens of dollars, just based on the Azure subscription model. So it will deploy an Azure function into your Azure instance, and then you can add your own libraries that you want to, and really customize that PowerShell. So right now, what we're doing is we're going through a beta testing round. It's a closed beta. We are adding customers starting tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is later on in this call, I'm going to drop a link in here. If you are interested in doing some beta testing with us on this will be available in all regions. We're hoping to get this out in an April timeframe as a general release, but we're collecting feedback first. So with that said,
Daniel,
what's that?
Let me say things.
Okay.
First off, the reason why we deploy an Azure function in your environment is we're actually running your PowerShell. Our Jinja implementation, we spent a heck of a lot of time creating sandbox technology around it. So if you wrote something malicious, nothing would happen. It's almost impossible to sandbox PowerShell. So with that, to keep you from writing malicious code that runs in our environment, you can run it in your environment. And that's why we're doing PowerShell functions. This is not an interpretation of PowerShell. This is not fake PowerShell. It's real PowerShell. It's in closed beta, hopefully to be released later this month.
Thank you, Aaron. I will drop a form in the chat shortly, and you can sign up for our beta program. All we need is your email and your organization name, and we'll send you either a meeting invite or a link to some documentations and demos, whatever works best. And yeah, that's it for me. Thanks, George.
Thanks, Daniel. What a great time to be a Rewst partner, huh? Brand new LMS, 3 new regions, 3 new integrations, and PowerShell Beta all to sign up for. So yeah, if you folks like breaking things and stressing Daniel and his team out, please use that link, sign up, and do your worst. We'd love to see what things you can expose. Up next, as noted, Gareth, my fellow namesake, Mr. G. Smith. Are you here with us, live and ready?
Hi, yeah, I think so anyway.
Good to hear your voice, Gareth. We're going to jump straight into things. Gareth has got a pretty cool automation he wants to show us. But before we jump into that, Gareth, I always love just chatting to you a little bit about your approach to whenever you first became a Rewst partner. There's a little bit of a written story, a blog on it that people can read up on in more detail. But you had a pretty cool way of leveraging Rewst whenever you first started, right? A lot of people in the world are busy today. MSPs are extremely busy. There's new tools all the time to check out, to test, to deploy. What was your approach to getting Rewst set up and beginning to use it whenever you first signed on as a partner?
Yeah, so when we first come on, obviously, we didn't really have anybody dedicated to go, right, you can spend full time doing this. I'm a service desk team leader myself, so, I'm always quite busy. So I started off just doing a couple of hours a week, kind of using the crates to kind of learn how everything interacts, how everything kind of works, stuff like that. And then from there, we started actually saving time, building our own little things. And then, went from a couple of hours to a full day, then to 2 days, and we keep kind of progressing.
Yeah, I love that story. So the idea that kind of using those crates, those pre-built automations to unpack those, get some instant value, get yourself some time savings, that buys you a couple of hours. You can use that to build more, and then those time savings compound. So great story. We'll share that blog post for a bit more details on Gareth's experience there for anyone who's interested in how to get those time savings compounded. But moving on to a little show and tell. Gareth, tell us a little bit about what you're going to highlight to us today. What's the kind of manual process that it's helping make more efficient? And please share your screen when you're ready and walk us through it.
Yeah, so what I'm actually about to show is kind of simple in terms, but I've kind of showcased this on the US open mic before, but not as improved what it is now. So this is actually regarding MFA methods and removing them. So, as we know, Rewst have their own compromised mailbox and password resets and MFA, stuff like that. But MFA doesn't quite do it for me. So I kind of rebuilt all my own. Let me share my screen. There you go. Can you all see? Perfect. Yep. So essentially, anybody who's kind of seen this before would have seen, I showcased. I'm quite happy about it. Turns out you always have that one user who finds out how to break it. So what actually was the issue is before I had it where it just went through, it looked at all the MFA methods that user had and then just simply removed them. Then one user decided to put their mobile in front of the MFA app. So that decided to cause me an issue because the MFA app wasn't there by default, the default sign-in method. So I had to work out a way to, kind of get rid of the MFA method in order. So, we start off with kind of the basic kind of stuff here. As you see, we're getting all them different MFA methods, even though I've got to look into this new QR one as well. I haven't quite looked into that one yet. But kind of from there, actually, if I should actually show you from here, it's a little bit easier because this one I ran earlier just so I could show you some results. It just kind of gets in what their method is. In this case, I was hurrying up and trying to do it. So, I just jumped onto 365 and added a number. The one thing I want to kind of let you guys know. So when I first started messing around with this, as you can see here, it says the preferred authentication method is SMS. So I tried going based off that. It doesn't like it. It absolutely hates it. You need to go by the user's preference for secondary authentication. Even though it says secondary, it's actually not. It actually counts it as primary, which you can kind of see a little bit further down. Once it kind of comes through that, the first thing it does, which I'll show you a ticket in a minute, it'll log all the MFA methods it found on the ticket. Now, you imagine you're doing, simple thing as, password and MFA reset, or even, like I said, back compromised mailbox. You kind of want to see what's going on at all times. So yeah, it'll list it all off, not just simply remove it. And then, like here, it'll go through. It's picked up that's tap, office phone, mobile, And then from here, it has nice little checks. Let me go back to the other one. It's easy to kind of flick through between them. So as you can see here, you have obviously all this kind of set up for each one to pick up, what method you're using, SMS, Office, or voice, should I say. Capitals do matter. Something I figured out, I kept putting SMS with a capital S, which you've probably seen in the original result. Don't do that. It just doesn't like it. But yeah, and then essentially, it's kind of the same, Office default, alt phones, everything's the same. But do remember, just because we see it as Office number on 365 doesn't mean that's what it's actually being called as. It's called Voice Office in the results. Yeah, that kind of goes through. Once it kind of gets from there, it will check, it say like mobile is default. We want a delay. The reason why we need to put a simple delay in, I think I put 20 seconds on this. Yeah, 20-second delay is because it gives it a chance to remove everything else besides that default. Once it kind of runs through, it'll go through and, kind of start removing pretty much everything while this is being held, for example. Inside all here, Office ID is always pretty much the same, so you can by all means use this in the video. And then essentially it will go remove it all and produce a result. And then time that's done, it hits down, which is another 40-second task, 40-second delay, sorry, which then gives kind of chance for it to then actually go remove whatever that default is after the original initial display delay has been done. Once that's kind of been done, it will go update the ticket, say X, Y, and Z has been removed, and it kind of breaks it all down. You do get a lot of things. One thing I will say is what you want to make sure you want to look for the status code more than anything. Don't just go by succeeded or anything like that. The reason being is everything always has a code time it finishes. It's just a lot easier to kind of pick it up as well. Once kind of all that's done, then yeah, it's pretty much done. Now, like I said, I've created this once and I've used it inside the compromised mailbox and everything, and it is quite good. But yeah, overall, it's pretty powerful and good what it does. Now I'm trying to find that ticket. I did have it somewhere to give you guys just a general quick example. There we go. Hang on, you guys are on the other part of my screen. There we go. So a quick one here, as you can see, it'll simply go through. It will tell you the method, Office, mobile, and then it'll simply tell you it's been removed. So it kind of puts it two separate. Like I said, the reason why I wanted that is, I want to use it on compromised mailboxes. I want to know everything. So I want it to show me what it's got first, what the mobile numbers were, or anything like that. Because that means then you can always go inquire with, the end user. Oh, is this number you, or is this mobile number you, etc. But yeah, that's pretty much overall kind of what I wanted to show. It has been a while since I've shown anything juicy, just to keep you all hopefully a little bit more entertained. Next time we do this, I will have something very juicy to kind of show you on the app builder. Which fingers crossed you'll enjoy.
Awesome, thank you so much, Gareth. Little tip I love seeing there was the thought behind some of the time delays. I think that was a great tip. Something I really thought about before actually inputting those 20-second or 40-second things just to make sure everything runs a little bit smoother. Did anyone have any questions or comments they wanted to share with Gareth about that workflow? I know MFA is such a big topic that's, yeah, as Adam said in the chat, Microsoft really love making it easy for us. So always a topical and contentious point. Any questions from anyone or anything wants to add or share? Alex is good. No? Alrighty. Okay, Gareth, thanks again so much for sharing. As with these community calls, guys, just to kind of reference back to one of the key purposes is this is what we're here to do, right? Is to share and collaborate on ideas. Rewst really has boundless opportunities of what you can do with it. And so that's why we love having our first European open mic call. So hopefully we'll see attendance grow over the weeks and months and years to come. And so if you're interested in sharing something, we do have a form where you can submit your request, which I'll post in the chat shortly, or you can always feel free to just direct message me on Discord or send me an email, but we'd love to see and share some of the cool things that you guys are doing. Moving back to getting some instant value out of Rewst, though, as Gareth mentioned, using crates whenever he first started these pre-built automations that Rewst has immediately available for partners. We wanted to take some time to highlight one of those today. You may have seen recently on social media or some of the other Rewst accounts are just-in-time admin create. Anyone seen that? Is anyone using that here on the call today by way of a reaction? No? Can anyone guess, based on the name, what a just-in-time pre-built automation might do? Elliot, I see you grinning. You might have some idea. Yeah?
Yeah, by any chance, does it give us admin counts just in time?
It does. It does. So a common problem. We'll post the videos as well in the chat. Adam and I worked on them. Adam does a great job of kind of explaining succinctly. But again, if you need to share it internally with your team, all around kind of security and just-in-time admin access. We understand creating admin accounts creates a massive hole in your security for having standing admin accounts for your multiple tenants across multiple different customers. And so we've developed a pre-built automation that allows you to generate these admin accounts under a certain time setting, okay, thereby increasing your security, aligning with different compliance protocols, and ultimately reducing your attack surface area from malicious actors. The weird thing as well is that because Rewst is able to connect and log things in your PSA, all of it is tracked as well within your PSA. So we're going to take a little bit of a look at it in more depth. My partner in crime, an MC of our North America open mic, Ashley, are you there?
I am here, yeah. How's it going, everyone?
Good.
Cool.
Another common wealther as well, alongside Daniel. So, so Ashley, maybe if you don't mind firing up your screen, or we can take a look at this create in a little bit more detail. And so anyone who's not already using it on the call, we can just show some tips and tricks on how to get started, how to implement it, start exploring its value.
And this will be coming from a perspective similar to one, if you guys have never done this, it's kind of like one of those watch me as I do this for the first time too kind of situations. I just installed this crate for the very first time this morning, and I'm going to walk you through kind of like the experience there. So as George mentioned, this crate, the main value that it brings, like we said, is that it allows you to automatically elevate those necessary access while also controlling how long and when and where that sticks around. There's a video here, like George said, you can watch that to see a little bit more about how it works. But just to kind of give you a high level, this is what the crate looks like when you open it up. Kind of gives you the high level information about what it does. And then below you can see everything that's being installed. So with these workflows, like it does look like there's a large number of them, but the reason for that is because it is modular and it's based on your setup. So whether you use one PSA or another, it'll determine that. So you can take a look at these things that are being made just so you can kind of understand what's all coming through. But when you first load it, this is kind of what it would look like. It would show you the information, let you set it if you want to change that name or configure any of those details on the workflow, and then you would just unpack. When I've already have that unpacked. So when you do, this is that first top level workflow that is in existence. And so I'm going to take a little bit of a more technical approach to this just so that you guys can actually see what it's doing in relation to like how you might do this today. But it's basically just giving a user a form to fill out. And again, I'm not going to spend all the details in the form because the video does a really good job going over that. But if you want to find where that is, you can see it right here. This is the configuration of it. So you can see where things are being pulled from. If you're curious, there's some option generators that are defined in here. And when you're looking at the form from a user's perspective, I'm not gonna be able to run this because I don't have everything configured for myself, but just so that you guys can see, gives you the option. You check on-prem or M365 which customer you want that to run for, if whatever ticket you want it to go to, and then the details, you can choose your password and stuff like that. And so then when that submits, that triggers this main workflow. And as you can see, what we do is we are checking to see whether that client org was populated. We're identifying who it was that submitted that form from your user lists. We're determining which org that is in your Rewst. And then we're figuring out whether that should be an on-prem action or M365. For the case of this, we'll just go through the graph settings. I'll touch on that one in a second. But when I jump into this sub workflow, you can see this is the secondary one. And you can notice that it's got three additional sub workflows in here. They're actually all the same workflow. It's just the different places that we are updating that ticket. And so you can see the flow of the crate kind of goes the same type of thing. We're getting that domain running as org. So like within the context of the org that the user was submitting on. We're checking whether a user already exists. And if it does, we're removing an old account. We're creating that M365 user. We're updating the ticket that has been created. And then we're updating those roles, giving them that global admin, determining when, I think based on the form, like when that should end, updating the ticket, and then delaying for that time, and then removing that global admin and deleting the account, and then updating the ticket again. And so really this, like you can see this not high level, but like from this sub workflows level, it's really just performing those tasks and keeping that ticket updated. And when we look into this sub workflow for the update ticket, this is just where it's determining. So if you're curious about where those extra sub workflows are coming from, these are where it's like based on your organization variables, which PSA you're calling. And then that will update those things. The video that is on the just-in-time crate here, you can actually see it. It'll show you the updates happening real time in your PSA if you want to see what that looks like, or if you just want to walk through and reverse engineer from here, you can see what's going on too. In the on-prem, this is where it looks very similar, but then there's just a few extra actions, right? So it's still updating the tickets, but then this is where we're doing some additional chain functionality for how we're handling those on-prem accounts. From a business value perspective, this makes it really easy for you to just kind of automate from that perspective when that should happen, and then you have that clear audit trail also in your PSA showing you, here's when it was made, here's the purpose, here's when it was removed, and then it automatically keeps your hygiene from a compliance perspective really smooth there. Does anybody have any questions or areas that they want me to drill into more on this crate?
Once, going twice. Okay. If anyone does think of anything, please, just drop them in the chat. We can kind of do some Q&A in there. We're going to move on to the last bit of the call, though. We do have one more community partner demo. Mr. Adam Petter, are you there, sir?
I am here. Yeah, hello.
Hello. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good, awesome. Thanks, Adam. Before we jump in, I always just like kind of getting a little bit of a 2-minute fireside chat. I'm just very curious to hear about your MSP, how you got started with Rewst. What were some of the first things that attracted you to Rewst, and what are some of the first things that you started implementing whenever you first signed up?
Okay, so I'm the managing director of TechWise. We're a 17-user MSP in the UK. I can't really remember what made us start with Rewst. Someone said it was a good idea, and we kind of jumped on it. And we really started, first of all, just by powering through the crates. I think we kind of unpacked just about every single one of them just to see what they did, caused a huge amount of confusion and had millions and millions of workflows all over the place. And then we tried to settle down a wee bit and actually tried to look at what we actually needed to actually do out of them. So we still got some of the crates going. Most of our workflows are really quite simple. I've looked at kind of like little snippets of things that we need to do, those little sort of little corrections, those little things you can do onto tickets and so on. And it's that sort of thing that we found that we kind of build on those. It's rather than the, a 4-hour process or something that we're streamlining. It's lots and lots and lots of 5-minute and 10-minute processes. So we just try and integrate it into just about everything that we're doing at the moment.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a real key thing for people in the first phase of their adoption to hone in on. There's a temptation to want to build everything and start looking at net new processes and try and solve these big problems. But to your point and Gareth earlier, if you start small and create a 5-minute saving here that happens every hour, every day, that's great. Another 15-minute saving here on a weekly basis. Those quickly start accumulating, and you find yourself with more time to then put towards those larger projects, right? So what is it you wanted to show us today? Can you first kind of describe what that manual process is and then how you automate
well,
it?
it's more for, this is overcoming a couple of limitations. So we use FreeCX as our phone system, and we sell FreeCX, and it's reasonably good as a phone system, but there are a couple of things which it's really weak on. Currently the reporting is pretty dire, and I needed to get some better call reports. I need to start getting a proper Wallboard up. And the other thing is it doesn't really have any kind of integration into Halo, and I wanted to start getting some call information back into Halo. Particularly things like call summaries and time entries and so on, to make it easier for the engineers or take away the excuse that they aren't entering time. If they've done a call, they can better click on it and get it from FreeCX and over into Halo.
Sounds good. Let's take a look under the hood and see what that looks like on the canvas.
Yeah, certainly. Right. So here we go. Just share my screen. So here's Halo. Let's just move my little Teams bar out of the way. Right. I did play around, first of all, trying to use that platform to bring all of our calls in, but that, for various reasons, became a little bit too complicated. So instead, I've got a nice simple log call button, which, if everything's working nicely, will take me to a very simple Rewst form. That's going to go through, join up to our ticket and give me a list of all my calls. So it's basically looking at the call recordings, because for transcription, obviously, we need them to be recorded. So I pick the one I want, whether I want a time record, a summary, or a transcription. So if I hit submit, and that will go off and do something in the background, which we'll come back to. So this is the main workflow that we got. So it starts. I haven't used a proper custom integration for FreeCX. I've basically cheated and just got a workflow which just renews the bearer token just on a sort of rolling schedule. So that will grab the bearer token, and then my secrets are hidden in custom variables on the account. So it goes through, makes the first API call, which grabs all the call recordings, and it grabs the agent from Halo, so it then knows whose calls it's trying to grab. Then we go through to the transcribe call. Now, FreeCX has got its own call transcription built into it, but we had a couple of problems with that. You either use your own API key, in which case it costs a fortune because it transcribes absolutely everything, or you don't and you use their transcription service, but we found that it kept transcribing our calls and then translating them into Welsh, which wasn't as useful as it might sound. So I'm doing our own call transcription. And there's a big problem with that, because what I need to do with that is grab a WAV file from our FreeCX server and then upload that WAV file to OpenAI, as we're using at the moment, to do that transcription, which means file handling, and they're big files, so I couldn't work out how to do that from actually inside Rewst. So my method of cheating for that was that all of our FreeCX servers are Linux boxes, and we've got Ninja on them. So I wrote a 4-line Linux script which Rewst calls and tells Ninja to run and passes through the parameters. It's passing through the bearer tokens and all the authentication and so on. So it's very simple, just a curl to download the WAV file, another one to upload to OpenAI, another one to then post those results back onto the webhook, which the workflow creates, and that Ninja's quite quick, so it sort of fires it off and it gets through there nice and quick. At which point it then goes through, and depending on what you've asked it to do, does a nice OpenAI summary and then updates the ticket. So hopefully by the time I've waffled on from there, I've now got my little transcription on there. So it does it as a time record. So whenever the call was made is when these will be stamped, and then I've got the summary of the ticket. Summary of the call rather, and the actual transcription hidden away in a custom field under there. So it's kind of taken the We've seen an awful lot more time being logged, because as people make calls, it's much quicker for them just to enter that data back again. So it increases the accuracy, and by just changing the prompt that I give for the summary, you can see the sort of further actions and so on there. So hopefully allows the engineers to see what it was they were doing, and in a lot of cases don't really need to do an awful lot more to the ticket. It says what happened and it says what's going on. So that's it, nice and easy. Get the robots to transcribe things for you rather than actually having to type things in yourself.
And they can even do it in Welsh, apparently.
And they can do it in Welsh if they wanted to. Yeah. So the second part for this was I needed to try and build a wallboard. So I built this. So this is the eagle-eyed view. Will see it's basically Rewst returning a template. And then we have a workflow which will generate that template. So every time that refreshes, it runs this workflow to generate it and rewrite the template. Or if you look at the webhook, it will give you the last version of the template. So it's slightly behind. So it doesn't update all of the time, but it's enough for a wallboard just for us to keep track of, who's answering the phone, how many calls we're dropping, all those sort of things. Now, again, I had a slight bodge to get around a small problem here, is that the API on FreeCX isn't that great for actually getting call information and reporting information from there. So I went back to another Ninja bodge, which was to get the FreeCX server to generate a CDR for every single call it makes. And then I've got a nice simple bash script which fires off each CDR as basically the CSV for it to another Rewst webhook, which is this nice little simple routine, which then dumps the CDR into an Azure table, which is really nice and simple, nice easy way of getting that information. So now I've got that information. It's also then nice and simple to then grab it back from there, and just with a whole load of little variables and a whole load of HTML, it can then just write all that up into my nice little template and then present it to me, acting as a nice little web server.
Nice. Adam, quick question for you for our North American counterparts who may be on the call or see this later. What is a bodge?
A bodge is something you do in order to make something work that is possibly not exactly the most respectful way of doing it.
Love it. New word for the folks on the call, I'm sure. Another question, if I may. I was just kind of curious, there's a lot of moving parts of this workflow. How did you kind of approach designing it? Was it all the stuff in your head and you were kind of the main architect? Did you have to connect with other people? Was there a post-it note somewhere with arrows and things? What did that process look like?
I think actually on this one, I have behind me here blurred out a massive 6-foot whiteboard. So that is my particular technique. I have to either write things out, or I have a great habit of starting from probably where I want to end and try and work backwards, then realize I've done it all entirely wrong and start all over again, which I think is a perfectly legitimate design process for this kind of thing.
I noticed as well in your workflow, you have the kind of start here base as well. Are you in the Noop or no op camp? There's a bit of a segregation in the Rewst community about what the naming convention of that is.
A Noop, definitely.
Noop. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Does anyone else on the call have any questions for Adam or any comments on this workflow? Anything else you want to share? We've got no ops here in the chat. No operation. I think I'm Noop. I'm in the camp of Noop. Brent, go ahead.
Thanks. Wow, that looks like very elegant solution there. Just a quick question with regards to, I see it was generating a ticket based on the transcription that was generated. Have you found any pushback or requests to try get the original ticket linked to the ticket from that call recording, like merged?
Yeah,
is that next stage?
That is kind of next stage. There's the new call feature in Halo. I want to be able to click that, and then I want to use that to then trigger after the call was ended. But I'm still trying to work out. Halo does that in a rather weird way. There's basically 3 types of action it could record depending on what you do on that, and it records a call, but you can't trigger a webhook on a call. you could do it on an action, but then the actions are just ticket open, ticket closed. So they're not unique actions. So I'm trying to work out another bodge to try and work out how I can get that to work. I think it does save it with when you save the ticket from the new call as the title will be date : and then.
Yes.
So I might have to just do a little bit of regex to try and pick that up. And if ever you save a ticket with that on it, get it to go and fire off and find the ticket and add it. So yeah, that's the next bit.
That's great. That's great. We use core cabinets, so might take a bit of that, and we can also pull down the recordings.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome, thanks guys. Well, just a few minutes left, folks. I just wanted to open it up to for kind of any general Q&A. If anyone has any questions at large about Rewst, anything upcoming, anything from March, anything at all. Now's the time on these live calls. That's what we're here for. No, all good. All right. Well, with that, guys, we will begin to wind down. As I mentioned, this call is recorded. We will be making the recording publicly available. Be sure to check that out. There'll be some of the links that have been associated from this call. So as Daniel mentioned, the PowerShell Beta will have links to that just-in-time create video that go into more depth about, the technical aspects and how to unpack it, as well as how you can highlight the business value to other people at your company for why and how you should be using it. And don't forget about Flow as well. It's going to be the best conference of the year over here in North America. So if you make the trip, you will definitely not be disappointed. This has been a great open mic for our European family. Thanks everyone who made it live. Please spread the word, and hopefully we can see some more folks on the next call on the first Thursday in May. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Aaron,
thank you, everybody.
Any last comments from you?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Feel free to send George your feedback on the call if there's anything you want to change. If you like the time, don't like the time, if you want more of them or fewer of them, please let us know. Thank you, everybody, for demoed. I know it's a lot of work. It can be stressful, so thanks in advance for your demos. See you, folks. Have a good week.
Bye, everyone. Who's going to meow?
Meow.
Meow.